What's up guys, welcome to the channel. If you guys are new here, my name is David. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you aren't already subscribed. Today's video is going to be all about my step-by-step process, my mindset, everything that I go through from shooting to editing to exporting a video and what I think composes a good video and what I think that you should think about when making your own videos. I wanted to make this video because I see a lot of videos where people don't really know what they're doing. A lot of people cover up their mistakes with transitions. There's a lot of mistakes in videos that could be fixed, like, messed up slow motions and whatnot because, I don't know, maybe they shot in 24, but then they realized they want to use slow motion and it just didn't turn out so great. There's a lot of things, a lot of minor flaws that could be fixed, and I want to give you guys an opportunity to pick my brain and kind of understand where I come from when I edit my videos. So if you guys like the way I edit my montages, my music videos, whatever video they may be, stick around because I'm going to break down my step-by-step process for you guys. Real quick message before we jump into the video. I have been super busy and my videos have been looking really bland lately on YouTube, I guess, because I've just been so stressed. This week I've been on creative hiatus because I just need a break. April I was working non-stop. I had one day off and I'm just tired, so I needed a break. But I'm back and here's this amazing video for you guys that I put a lot of effort into, so enjoy. So we're going to talk about what I think about when shooting, and throughout this whole chapter, this whole section, I want you guys to remember that it is better to have more than to not have enough, because that is going to be super important when shooting. It's better to have as much as you possibly can as opposed to not having enough for the video, because if you don't have enough, you can't just go out and get more. You're going to have to reuse the clips that you have. But if you have more, there's going to be excess that you don't have to use, but is good to have just in case you need it. So remember, it's better to have more than to not have enough, okay? Remember that. Before going into a shoot, I like to remember to plan ahead. This isn't so much as direction or anything, just what frame rate do you want to shoot at? Will you be using slow motion? Will you not be using slow motion? What do you want to shoot? If you don't know if you're going to use slow motion, shoot in 60, because 60 you can always export it to 24, but at 24 you can't do slow motion, and it's just a hassle to have to deal with that. So if you don't know if you want to use slow motion or not, shoot in 60 frames per second, because you can always slow down 60 frames and then end up exporting it for that 24 FPS look. So most of the things that I shoot are in 120 frames per second or 60, and I always export my videos at 24 frames per second, and we're gonna get into that later with the export settings and all of that good export stuff. But that is step one. Make sure you plan ahead. Know what camera settings you want. Know exactly how you're gonna shoot it. Are you gonna use a stabilizer? Are you going handheld? Should you shoot at 60 frames per second? Should you shoot at 24? And it all depends on the next step, the vibe of the video. How do you want the video to seem? Do you want it to be elegant? Do you want it to be intense? Do you want it to be soft? Do you want it to be cinematic? What vibe are you gonna go for in this video? Because it's gonna be super important to what your shots are gonna look like. It's super important to the whole editing process of the video. It's really good to know exactly what you wanna go for. So if you're shooting a wedding and you want it to be super lovey-dovey, super soft, super elegant, you might wanna do a stabilizer, slow motion, or if you're shooting a fight scene, you might want to do handheld and super fast 24 frames per second jittery look. It's good to plan stuff like that ahead because it really helps with the editing and having to know what you exactly want to do instead of having to go on set and then go home later, edit it, and realize you can't go back and you messed up. Now, when it comes to the shots themselves, this is my process. I like to get everything I possibly can. I really need details. Details are super important. Everybody loves details, whether it's in slow motion or regular speed. Details are amazing. You need to get some up close, you need to get some far away. The more angles you have, the better. The more you can get 3 angles of the same tree, and you can use that for so many different things. Trust me, you can use it for everything, just cuts, because it could be a different tree, nobody knows. The more you have, the better. So grab details, grab people walking, grab some scenic b-roll, grab some street signs, grab details of a wedding ring, grab details of hands, grab details of people shaking hands or high-fiving or smiling up close of their face. Everything, details, especially if you get it in that slow motion. amazing because you can elapse that time so well, because it just makes for an amazing thing to watch, because people love that bokeh look. So when you get into their face and get that macro shot, it's really just, you know, pleasing to look at, and it really pieces the video together, because what you're doing is setting the scene, and setting the scene is super important. So getting those street signs, getting that ambience of the city, getting that ambience of the wedding itself, getting emotions. You're setting the scene for the video, and you're telling people, this is what the video is going to feel like. This is what you are going to see. This is where it's taking place, and this is how you should feel. Because once you get all those emotions, once you get that rustic city vibe, or that elegant waterfall, or that beautiful wedding dress flowing in the wind, people know what this video is going to be about. That's the first thing they're going to see, and you really want to set the scene for them, because they're going to see that first clip or two, and they're going to expect, this is what the video is going to be, and this is what I'm going to expect with the whole thing. And if it's not what they expect, it could go both ways. It could be super amazing and you got to catch them in the middle really, really hard, or it could go really bad and they'll just click away because it's not what they expected and they didn't want to see it. Now, aside from the detailed shots, you want to set the actual story. If you're hired to do a wedding, okay, get the details, but then you have to remember, you need to get the story itself. You need to get that first kiss. You need to get the couple together. You need to get the couple's families together. You need to get them interacting with each other. You need to get the party guests interacting and, you know, participating in the wedding, having fun. You need to set the story, and this could be in so many ways. If you refer back to my wedding video of Paula and Johnson, I'm not sure if a lot of you saw that, but I have a video on my channel. I'll link it in the description below. Basically, what I did was take two perspectives of the wedding, because I was not doing the full wedding, I was doing the wedding prep. I had to put a story to it. What I did was I took two perspectives. One from Johnson's, the groom's perspective, and one from Paula's perspective, the bride. What I did was kind of do switching back and forth, so it felt like they were doing it at the same time, at the same pace, and eventually met up at the end. But in reality, I spent a good 2 or 3 hours with the bride and 10 minutes with the groom. I was able to piece it together and make it feel like it was simultaneously happening together. You know, to be able to make a story out of something is super important, because that's what's going to catch your viewers, along with the eye candy, the eye-pleasing details. You combine those together and it makes an amazing video already, and that's just the shooting. And when it comes to editing later, that's what really, you know, pieces everything. So thinking ahead of it is super important. But if you don't want to think ahead, just get every single possible detail you possibly can. Every clip. It's better to have 600 clips where 500 you're not going to use than to have 3 clips with 500 that you actually need. Lastly, this is where it comes down to you, and I can't tell you what to do here, because it is to add your own twist. People hire you because they like your style. If it's your style that they want, they're gonna come to you, they're gonna see your work, and they're gonna choose you. This is where you add in your own twist, from the camera movements to the panning, the tilts, anything at all. If you're using a stabilizer, if you're using handheld. See, me personally, I love to use a stabilizer, and I love to do combination movements. And I'm pretty sure that's not a real name for it, but I like to call it that, because basically what I do is I'll be moving upward and panning the camera down, so it kind of like looks like an orbiting look where it's just overlooking and rotating around the object. I do it in everything. I do it overhead, I do it underhand, I do it from the side. I like to orbit items a lot. I like to orbit scenes, and honestly it adds for a really nice thing, because people love movement, especially when it's in a cinematic or a soft kind of feel video. That slow motion mixed with that movement really pieces things together, and that's just my style. You can do it however you like, whether it's handheld, whether you're using parallax zooms, where you're using like really close zoom in, zoom out type stuff. It all depends on you. Add your own twist to it, because that's what's gonna be your video. It's what makes the video yours. From there, that should be all of the shooting things that are, you know, go through my head. From there, we're gonna talk about editing. And while we talk about editing, I want you to know that less is more. I see so many people throw transitions on transitions on transitions on transitions over their clips. It's okay to use transitions, But if you can't make a good video without transitions, you shouldn't even be using transitions, because the way I see it, a clean cut video is the best go-to thing. If you don't know what a client wants, if you don't know if they like transitions, you don't know if they like clean cut, you don't know if they like consistent video, really long stuff, clean cuts are the best thing to do, because you can never go wrong with clean cuts. Clean cuts are the standard, it's normal. So clean cuts are the best option to do if you don't know what to do. Never overlay too many transitions, never use too many transitions, because the way I see it, you're just covering up for your mistakes, and you don't want to do that. You just want to go back, direct your mistakes, and look at them, confront them, and fix them. Don't just leave them there and cover them up with a transition, because that way you're not going to learn anything. You need to learn how to fix your mistakes. You need to acknowledge them so that you can do better next time. A lot of times I see so many mistakes in my videos. I acknowledge them, I look at them, I see them, I leave them, I fix them up a little bit, and then next time I know what to do if I'm in that same situation. So make sure you guys fix your mistakes, acknowledge them. Don't just throw transitions because you think they might look cool if they'll fix your mistakes. If you can't do a clean cut video that's super awesome, don't use transitions. But anyways, the first thing that I do when I go into editing is find my music. Now, the music, and I know I've said this a lot, is going to piece the video together. The video itself is something, but if the music sucks, if the music doesn't match, if the music isn't amazing and blends the video together, if you're shooting a wedding video to a rock song and the vibe of the video is in slow motion, very white, very elegant, very slow, very soft, it's not gonna work out. You want a slow song to fit that slow vibe. So this goes back to when I said, when you're shooting, think about the vibe that you want. What do you want? Do you want that slow motion cinematic? Do you want that hyper jittery action feel? The music also plays into this, because you need to know exactly what you want. So when you shot it, you thought about it. So now you gotta find a music to match. So music is everything. And then after music, when you're doing your cuts, you need to think about musicality. Will you be cutting to the beat? Will you be cutting just, randomly? Because in my opinion, I love musicality. When a beat drops, when a kick goes boom, when a cymbal goes cat, or whatever, I just love musicality. I love playing with the music and the clips together, because it just triggers something in the brain of the viewer and gives them something to think about, gives them something to look at, gives them something to feel and hear, because I'm pleasing their senses. I'm appealing to their senses from touching, hearing, smelling, tasting, and seeing. Did I say that? Yes, their senses. You want to appeal to their senses, because that's what's going to make a good video. If you can appeal to as many senses as you possibly can, the better your video is going to be, because the viewer is going to be so dragged into your video that they're not even going to realize they just spent 10 minutes watching your short film, because they just loved it that much. Keep things simple. Don't add too much. Don't overdo things. Don't overdo color or anything. Just keep things simple, because simplicity is key. Less is more. That's a short one. That was a very short tip, but that's in my process. In my mind, it's just keep things simple. Sound design. Sound design is gonna appeal to the hearing senses, and it's gonna give them a little bit something more than just music. Now, you keep it very subtle. It could be a ding of a bell, it could be the sound of birds chirping, it could be the ambience of cars rushing through, it could be water, running in the back if there's like a waterfall on the screen. It could be anything at all. Add that sound design to make it feel more immense. Give them an experience, not just a video. Give them experience to watch. Make them feel like they were actually there with you, experiencing the moment with you. So if they're at a wedding, maybe give some crowds, give some clapping, give some cheering, anything at all, the walking, or just the sounds of the bells or something. Give them something to feel like they're there. Make it immersive, make it an experience for them to live. And when it comes down to color, don't overdo it. Don't overdo the saturation, don't overdo the color. If you keep it simple, the color also has to do with the mood of the video. If it's blue, it could be sad, it could be, a specific way, depending on the shades of blue. If it's red, it could be angry, it could be like you're in a nightclub and things are about to get really actiony and intense. If it's desaturated, things are definitely gonna get intense. There's different ways to color your video to set different moods. If you don't know what mood you want, just color it normal. Don't overdo the saturation, you know, tone down some saturations just a little bit and give it, you know, a little more clean look. If you guys don't know what you want, just make sure you don't overdo anything too much, you know. Lastly, when it comes to exporting, I really like to just export in 24 frames per second. Why? Because it gives a cinematic look that appeals to the eye, because it's not 60. 60 is disgusting and I don't like it. If you watch a video in 60 frames per second, you're basically watching a smart TV, and smart TV shows are very annoying. I hate how smooth it is. It hurts my eyes and people don't like watching it, especially if it's on YouTube. It just gets super annoying. So make sure you guys export your video in 24. A lot of people may not understand it. They don't know what frame rate is. 24 frames per second is my export settings. And if you don't know how to do that, go to your sequence settings and click on the frame rate. It should be the second thing if you're using Premiere, and just switch that down to 23.976 or whatever it is, 24, same thing. Just switch it over. Yeah. Cool. Also plays in with the bitrate, the maximum render quality, and the maximum depth. If you check all those boxes, I like to export my video at a bitrate of anywhere between 20 to 40, which is overkill, but I love to overkill things. So keep it in that range if you want. It's naturally standard default at 10. So if you want to do 15, 20, that is the ballpark zone. If you're on YouTube, it's between like 15 to 30. You know, anywhere between that ballpark is a good bit rate for exporting. From there, I make sure to stay organized, because if the client is asking for a specific video, I want to stay organized in case they have any changes. I export it, I put it into a final videos folder so that I can keep track of the number of renders that I have, so that when it comes to the final one, I can save that, archive it, keep all the files, archive them, keep them all organized, so that one day I can go back, pick those clips out, throw them in a YouTube video, and then move on with my life. After all that, your video should be pretty good. A lot of it comes down to the eye you have yourself, because I can't tell you how to shoot a video. I can't dictate how you're gonna shoot your shot, or, you know, take your detail shots. I don't know how close you're gonna get. That all comes down to you. What do you think looks good? Now, the best part about it is nobody knows how many times you took that same shot. And I want to tell you guys this because there are specific shots, specific distances from the subject. There's so many different factors that come into play that, you know, you choose with your own eye. As the videographer, you get to decide, this looks better than this. It's better if I stand right next to her than if I were to stand over there in the corner. It's better if I got the shot macro, really up close, camera right here, so I can see all of this, just this front part of her face, than to actually stand in the other room with the doorway and all of this other stuff in the scene. It all comes down to your eye, because your eye is what's going to be most important. So you really need to appreciate your eye. If you don't think you have a good eye for video, work on it. Everybody has the potential to have a good eye. You just need to look at it, develop your style, figure out what you like to see, figure out what your clients like to see, figure out what you enjoy editing, because if you don't enjoy your shots, you need to start enjoying them. You need to find them and actually get to like them, because that's what's going to make your video. Because if you don't like your video, you're not going to put enough effort into it. You're not going to be dedicated to finishing this video in a good manner with very awesome details and very awesome editing and very clean cuts, because if you don't like it, no one's going to like it. So make sure you love what you do. Put your all into it, give it your best shot, whatever it is. Just go in, get some good shots, and keep changing it up. Don't do the same thing over and over and over and over. I mean, of course, you're very limited to specific things, like if you're doing video for hair, which I do a lot. There's only so many angles, so many shots that you can do in a span of time. So at this point, I think I've gotten just about every hair shot that I possibly can. So at this point, I'm kind of just repeating myself. Yeah. Just, it all comes down to your eye. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I know that this was a long one, but I felt like it was very needed, because I want to give you guys a bit of my mind of how I do my videos, and give you guys an idea of what my shots look like when I, you know, do them. So all these shots out here were uncolored, unedited, just the raw shots themselves, just threw them in. A lot of them, you know, stabilizer, some of them handheld, you know, just a bunch of different shots. So I really want you guys to understand where I come from when I'm doing my videos, because I want to give you guys the opportunity to take a bit of me and piece it in with your style, because when you develop your style, it's not just you. It's a piece of things you've seen before. It's a piece of other people's work. It's like a bit of you and a bit of him and a bit of her and a bit of that and a bit of that dog, and you just bring them all in, you piece it together, and you create you. 500 people come together to make you and your style, because that's how styles develop. So don't be afraid to just nitpick from people and be like, I like that, I like that, I like that, I like that coloring, I like that cutting, I like those transitions, I like that style, I like that shot, and make your own style, because that's how people develop their stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you made it this far, thank you for sticking around. That is all for today's video, and I'll catch you guys in the next video, okay? I am hoping to spend a lot more time creating, because now I am a full-time creator and I have no job. But this month I am not as busy as I was last month, so the videos will be a little bit better. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you aren't already subscribed. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks so much. Have an amazing day, morning, night, or wherever you're watching from, and I'll see you then. Peace.